All right, fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Ezra, and I work in our WGU Career and Professional Development Office. And before I hand it over to our speaker, which I'm excited for today's session with the Educational Service Center of Central Ohio, before I hand it over to Tamika, I did want to just go over a few housekeeping items. So we are going to use the chat today as well as the raise hand function in WebEx webinars. So feel free to engage through both of those mediums. Throughout the session, feel free to put questions in there. I will monitor the chat, and then we will have some dedicated Q&A time at the end. We will be recording today's session, and I'll send that recording out to everyone afterwards. And you are always welcome to watch our recordings on our YouTube channel at WGU Career Services. So keep that in mind. And let's see here. Oh, and lastly, towards the end of the session, I will share a link in the chat. It is our Career and Professional Development survey link. If you have any ideas or topics or future sessions that you want to see, please take a few minutes to complete that survey. We appreciate your feedback and input. And so without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Tamika, to kick us off. And I'm looking forward to learning a little bit. Well, I've learned a lot already, but for you to share all of the amazing things that you guys do. So take it away.
Okay, good. Let's see. We are kind of like afternoon, evening. So, hello, everyone. I am Tamika Jackson, the Talent Acquisition Specialist with the ESC of Central Ohio. I've given a slight disclaimer that I am in presenter view. So, for me, I only see my presentation. So, if some of my movements are a little different, I'm not able to kind of see myself reflected. So, please forgive me. So, thank you so much for your willingness to spend a little time with me this evening to kind of share with you the work that we're doing here at the ESC. And then I certainly look forward to, as we get into it a little bit, to then be able to have our Q&A session so that I could answer anything for you. So kind of what I will do is just share a bit with you about the Education Service Center, what we do, and some of the roles that we're currently hiring for. So recruiting is my all day, every day job that I get to do. I very much love it. And I believe in the work that we do. And I believe in the impact that educators have, obviously on our students. And just as a recruiting tag that I utilize now, it's all about being the difference. So you'll see me and you'll hear me say that. So for today, obviously, we're going to be the difference and explore career opportunities with the Education Service Center of Central Ohio. So the first thing that we are going to do, as I like to say, is what I call a round of difference makers. So if you will utilize your function where you raise your hand, or you could say me or whatever within the chat if you'd like, and I simply want you to raise your hand if any of you, or if you've had anybody who's done this for you kind of as you were growing up. So if you had an educator who believed in you, if you had an educator who pushed you, if you had an educator who made learning fun, or if you had an educator who maybe saw you on a tough day. So hopefully, although I cannot see the raised hands, I would hope that many of you or some of you have kind of raised your hand. And in that case, if you have, I want to say great. That's a reminder of the power that you or any of us that are choosing to come into the education field have. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to really explore how you can be the difference for someone, as someone maybe has been for you in the past, okay? So first and foremost, this is probably what I say all the time, even prior to coming to the Educational Service Center. I get lots of questions around what is an Educational Service Center. So this is kind of what I'm sharing now is our official definition. We were established by the Attorney General's Assembly, and we really support Ohio Educational Regional Service System. And our main functions are to serve as the delivery system for school improvement efforts and for education reform initiatives. And then also we implement state and federally funded programs that are being put in place by the the General Assembly and the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. So we are classified as all of these things. And my favorite that I always like to say, one, we are a local political subdivision. We are a school district under state law, and then a local education agency under federal law. And sometimes this is my favorite. So we are definitely a serving body. We serve a number of districts. We'll talk about that a little more in detail in just a moment. But we are our own freestanding school district as well. So in terms of what we do as an ESC, we support the state through efficient distribution of information and school-related state initiatives. We support schools by providing professional developments for educators and services for schools. We support students through direct services such as preschool programs. We have many different special needs classrooms throughout Ohio. And then we also do quite a bit of career exploration opportunities for both our students who may have some special need challenges, but then also our traditional students as well. And then as a whole, and what we most pride ourselves on is that the ESC solves problems. We are really at the forefront of really seeing how we could innovatively and uniquely tackle some of the challenges that are being faced by our school districts here in Central Ohio. I don't know if many of you are here and based in Central Ohio, but I did want to share this graphic, and this just kind of shows the scope of our reach here in Central Ohio. We do work with 32 member school districts that are listed here. If you do have some familiarity with our area, you may recognize some of these districts, and then these districts cover an 8-county range, if you will. So for the most part, we are working with quite a bit of districts here in Central Ohio. Just in general, just to kind of share the services that we provide. For those districts, it really could be in any capacity. They kind of decide what services that they want. This is outside of the scope of our own freestanding school district. So we provide fiscal support, grants, contracts, payroll. Our achievement department is really thriving. They do some great work with professional development and career and workforce readiness. Our technology and digital learning program. And of course, we're making really great strides currently with AI and how that's integrated in the classroom. And then from what we call our student services, that's going to be all of our special education programming, our related services, which would be like OTs, PTs, social workers. We have a specialized tutoring program. We offer instructional coaching. And then in terms of a human resources team, we do quite a bit of hiring and onboarding. And we also run the Substitute Consortium, which I'll talk to you a little bit more later in the presentation as well. And then I just always like to share and make sure people kind of have, I guess, really deep information about the work that we're doing in our special education classrooms and the different services. As I say, we do work with preschool, and then there are a number of additional programs. If many of you are familiar with education, you know we use a lot of acronyms. So I do have those there. So for some of them, I will kind of talk to you a little bit more about what they are, because they may be unique to us in Ohio. With our RISE program, that is a program that is reaching for independence through structured education environments. For our STACK program, that is structured teaching for autistic and communication delayed kids. STRIVE is structured teaching reinforced in a visual environment. Our campus-based transition is all about partnering with area institutions and higher education to give Central Ohio students with disabilities an opportunity to explore and develop and refine skills necessary to enter a competitive employment market. And similarly, with our Project Search, that's very similar, where that's a 9-month school to work internship and transition program for students with disability. We also run programs for deaf and hard of hearing. And then we have two alternative education programs for students who have not found success in the traditional model. And for those, we run classrooms that are a 1-to-6 ratio. So it really is very small, specialized classrooms where we're able to really target an educational plan that works for them. So now we've gotten to what I like to call discover the careers that inspire. So for us, the top three roles that we hire and that we're kind of constantly hiring are our teaching assistants, our long-term substitutes, which are going to be substitutes that actually work for us. They receive a full-time salary, they receive benefits, but they may support us in different classrooms as needed throughout the school year. And then, of course, our intervention specialist. But we also hire all of the additional roles. We hire day-to-day substitutes, speech language, occupational therapist, adapted physical education teachers, standard physical education teachers, social workers, and so many more. So why would one want to consider working for the ESC? First and foremost, as I say, when I talk about the underlying thing always being about the difference that you can make in students' lives here. So it's you get to directly impact Ohio students. But we also pay into the state teachers retirement system or the school employee retirement system, depending on the role. We have excellent medical, dental and vision benefits. Obviously, we're able to offer paid sick leave and personal days because we are at the forefront of so much training and innovation. There's great mentoring and great professional development. One of the things that we really tout is the level of support that we're able to give our teachers as a whole, but especially our new teachers. And then we also do offer monetary hiring and retention incentive, both for our teaching assistants, but then also for our teachers. That is something to kind of show individuals we certainly appreciate their willingness to be a part of our team. And so we have that incentive structure in place as well. What's next? So in this sense, if you're wanting to kind of learn more about the agency and the work and the open opportunities that we have, then you certainly can visit our website. We are currently taking applications for full-time special education positions just in general. And then we will get into the Q&A, but there are a couple other slides that I have after this, just because I do generally like to share a little information on our substitute consortium. If we do have someone on that's here in Central Ohio that might be interested in that. If you have your phones readily available, though, you would be able to scan the QR code that is there underneath the Be the Difference, Discover Careers That Inspire, and that will take you directly to our human resources and our careers page for you to be able to explore a little bit more. So, like I said, I'll just talk to you a little more about our subs, and then I'll be able to take some question and answers. So in terms of our substitute consortium, we work with 25 different school districts, which encompasses about 200 different buildings here in Central Ohio. And so that just kind of features some of those school districts that we work with. I traditionally say to individuals who are closer in the area that are interested in education, subbing is a phenomenal way, obviously, to grow in the craft that you're desiring to do, but also to build relationships. Because we do work with such a large number of districts, you really can get in and kind of explore the culture of those particular districts to kind of see where you might better align once you're looking for full-time employment. And the pay structure is pretty decent. Our substitute pay ranges from 130 to 180 a day, just depending on the district. This is just kind of a little snapshot from our webpage that kind of shows you the substitute application process, if you will, and you'd go to the website, and if you're a new applicant, you would click there, and then it is actually a very simple process if you're looking to explore that. as an opportunity for you. So yet again, if you have your phones available, the QR here will take you directly to our substitute hiring page, and then you could explore more about that. And so thank you. And I hope, I think by your mere presence and being here, I think that you each certainly already have expressed some desire or some passion for the education field. So I look forward to taking your questions here in a moment and really seeing the difference that each of you will hopefully make in the lives of our students as we move forward. So that kind of ends my slideshow. So I am going to exit there, and I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen. I think maybe if I can figure out how to stop doing that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I,
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
and I think hopefully you just have me now. So thank you. That was quite fun. I feel like I talk a lot. So certainly I'm happy to kind of hear from you and see the things maybe that you shared, or if there's any questions that I could answer for you at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to put those questions in the chat. And I will keep an eye out. I am curious while we wait for some of the questions to come in, and some of you mentioned the AI component. And I'm assuming, are you sort of with so many school districts, right, that you're serving, are you on some of that forefront of that AI and bringing that into the class?
Yes, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's what that is. We actually have a phenomenal person who, I guess, in trying to be in the forefront, he was already in the forefront. So there was lots of work that he's way more familiar. Like AI feels really new to us, and it's old to him, if you will. But yeah, so he's doing quite a bit of training with our educators of how they will then integrate, because there's many ways that AI can then be integrated into the classroom, both from how you teach and then also how the students are able to utilize it for their educational purposes.
Fantastic. And then just a few questions here that came in around subbing. One, are there part-time opportunities available? And then I guess, do you recruit for the long-term sub positions in volume typically, or is it one here, one there, kind of as need
Oh no,
arises?
it's in volume. Like it's really like the number of long-term subs that it takes. Many school districts have kind of went to this model because it covers yourself, if you will, and you have familiarity. So on any given day, that person can kind of take care of your buildings, and they've been working with the students, and especially for us, because we work a lot with our special needs students, having someone that they're familiar with can really help. So yeah, in general, yeah, for us, we have upwards to, I believe, like 20 long terms, in addition to the day-to-day subs that we also utilize. And then I think I can see the question here about the part-time. Yeah, that's the great thing about subbing. In this sense, you pick when you go. I always tell people, so no one's going to tell you where to go sub. You identify the districts. That's one good thing about our consortium. You have access to those 25 different school districts. But if you're not immediately here in Central Ohio, wherever you are in Ohio, there is more than likely a ESC. We're just here in Central. I'm happy if I need to. We can go back to the slide, or I can type in my email and you can reach out to me and I can connect you to your local ESC. But certainly that could be done around your own schedule, and you get to pick when and where. Yeah.
All right, and it looks like one more question here. What is the step 5 in the step substitute process list? It mentions complete courses on public school.
Yeah, and that's language I always get tickled because I think we've always said courses. I say it's modules. So there are these modules that you have to do, obviously, kind of around safety and some different classroom behaviors. But they're just 5 simple modules that are assigned after someone on the boards that they have to complete 3 public school works.
That's great. Great questions. All right, a few have come in. Do you offer any mentorships for people who are newer to the professional world or just getting started in their careers?
Yes, we do, and I look. I would hope that this would be in relation to education. We do have some mentor things in place. So yet again, and maybe I don't know if I can get this to you or if you. However, to communicate, we also have a number, like I said, because we are doing so much with professional development and different things. So we have a number of newsletters that we send out that you're able to sign up for. I can see if I can drop the link in general to our page, kind of where we have all of our newsletters. And that's a great thing to follow. Just if you are in the education world, I'm a recruiter and I do talent. That's kind of my gig. But I go to a lot of these trainings just because I'm generally fascinated by what they're offering. And a lot of them will be free or low cost. So that's really good as well.
That's great. Um, and then I think that one was a question. You do these before you start work, referring back to the substituting.
Yes, they would. Yeah. So those modules, but they're not, like I said, they're modules. So yeah, I'm gonna change that language, especially because as we deal with students and you see the word course, that's overwhelming. Modules, very easy. Let's think like 30 minutes, an hour or less. Yes.
Great. All right. And then another question here. I'm a teacher now and I'm looking to leave the classroom but stay involved in education. Are there opportunities through the ESC, or what kinds of opportunities might you have for maybe non-teaching roles?
Yeah, we I guess we employ a number of different individuals and in different capacities. Even as I talk about a lot of our trainers that are doing different things, and depending on how you want to be adjacent to a classroom, we have kind of coordinators, we have mentors, we literally have someone whose whole job is to like mentor our new teachers. So there are a number of things. Right now, there aren't any like current openings, but I always tell people just because there isn't a current opening doesn't mean, that you don't go through the things to make connectivity. I'm very open with individuals sharing their resumes with me and kind of exploring what it is they're looking for. And then I can match you potentially to our particular department that aligns with that. And kind of as they have things come available, then that's a direct avenue to that. Okay.
Perfect. And is it okay if I put your email in the chat here?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And then I'm going to see if I can find the link really quickly to our newsletters to drop in there as well.
Great. And then the other question here, I'm currently at the end of my bachelor's in education and I've completed the background check you have on the list. Would you accept that, or do they have to do another one?
If that background was completed within 364 days of employment, we can accept that. Anything outside of that, and we would have to do it again. And then the other piece is, depending on I don't know if you're here in Ohio, we do require the BCI, which is the local, and then of course the FBI is federal. So if you didn't already have an Ohio local, we would need to do that as well. But generally, yes. And then another caveat to add, even in speaking about the substitute teaching here in Ohio, for our educators who do have to do student teaching, there is a current permit that you get to be a student teacher, and that does afford you to be able to substitute while you are actively a student. So yeah, that is actually something that needs to be said. I'm glad that you asked that, because then that reminded me. So when I'm on campuses, I do try to remember to say that pre-cert that you get, pre-certification that you get licensure to do your student teaching covers you. And as long as you are still actively a student, you can sub under that. And then once you graduate, you would then obtain either your standard professional license or you could a standard substitute license. Okay, I'm still going to get my newsletter link. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, that's fantastic. And they did say yes, they are here in Hilliard.
Hilliard, yes.
Hilliard, sorry.
No, it's all good. You have to be from here to. I wasn't always native, so many of these I've learned over time. Yes. Oh, did she? I thought she sent it to me.
And we've got someone else in Westerville. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Westerville. Yep. Okay, we're gonna take a different route. I thought my communication team sent me a link, but we're gonna see if we can find it here.
And then just for a clarification, if they apply for the Hilliard City Schools, they'll be able to be placed there. Do they get to note that in their application
Yeah,
process?
so if the question is in reference, like if they were maybe applying to be a substitute teacher, if we're talking about subbing, yes. So then, yeah, then you identify the districts of interest for you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, I'm still
Right.
in my little fact finding. One moment. Look, I'm like, stick with me, don't go. Or I might, did you say you were going to send something? Are you able to, if I can't get to the particular link, would you be able to send that when you send over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I can send out any links via email to folks who
Okay.
joined us today or who plan on watching the
Okay. Yeah.
recording.
For some reason, I am just not seeing this link, like I said, that I thought was most recently sent to me. Okay. I see like the back door of it. I'm getting hot. Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, if you have
Not quite.
any other questions,
Okay.
feel
All right. Well,
free.
I'll take more questions and I'll just send that. I'm sure I'll find it like as soon as I close this out and I'll provide it and you could send that over for those that are kind of interested in the things that are going on in different like training opportunities. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Any other questions from folks? How long does it take to be working from the time that you apply? And again, I think this is referring to the substitute process.
Yeah, and or just yeah, or even in general, I always tell people it takes as long as it takes for you to get the paperwork done. It is really it can be a very quick process. Sometimes I would say, depending on if you have up to date like background checks, those still process really quickly. But the Attorney General's office does have a 30-day window. That's just their standard. It could take up to 30 days. It rarely does, but I always say that. So that's the longest period if for some reason they were slow. But otherwise, licensure, which is generated after you have your background check, that comes really quickly. So, with our subs, we see people on board extremely, quickly. I mean, I'm talking, we could get you done in a few days. It really isn't a very long process, and especially normally for students because they already potentially have licensure with their pre-certs and they have their backgrounds. Just because for them they generally have to have that in their education program. So it could be very quick. And then I just want to also add this other piece in terms of emailing me. I'm certainly available, and I want you to know that I'm very open. So even if you had questions that you weren't comfortable, asking here, I also maintain like an open booking system, and you're able to just like hop on if virtual is your thing, and meet with me, and we can kind of talk about uniquely, what it is that you're desiring to do in education and the different connections that I can make for you.
That's amazing. I would definitely take you up on that offer for everyone listening here. Let's see. And then another question here, the Ohio substitute license. How do you get
Mhm.
that?
So obviously, yeah, you would get that through the State Board of Education. So with the one, and I'll just drop in here too the link directly to applying for subs. So when we kind of talked about those easy steps, it will spell out how to get that licensure. And there are two different types of sub license that they issue. You have what I call your standard, where you'll have to upload your 4-year degree if you're someone who already has a 4-year degree, or temporary. Temporary is going to be for individuals who do not have a 4-year degree. And that's been a change in legislation, really as a byproduct of the pandemic and the great need for substitute teachers. Before substituting was strictly classroom, substitution was strictly for individuals with a 4-year, but now there's definitely room, and we very much need our people as they're working through the education process to be able to do that. So let me drop really quickly the link to our substitute hiring page. One moment.
That's great. That's good information. All right. Any other questions about opportunities?
Okay, and we're gonna do that. And then just as we are kind of still talking about the sub piece, and if you're kind of not wanting to be in the classroom, we also do what you call classified. So a lot of this has been around what we would call like certified which is the actual teacher. But we also do the subbing if there were other positions, secretarial, just every other role in the classroom. We also do the subs for that as well.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, this is my plug to share with your people. Tell them we are hiring almost in every capacity at the ESC of Central Ohio, and then add the part, and it will be true. Be like, and it's such a nice lady doing the recruiting over there.
Well, we definitely agree. So fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. This was such a great presentation.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Any other questions from folks? And then where is your center located?
So yeah, oh, great question. Our actual physical location is 2080 City Gate Drive here in Columbus, Ohio. If you're here and you are familiar with like the Easton area, we are like tucked between Easton, which is a known shopping area, and the airport. If you've ever been anywhere, you've passed by us. Okay, so that is where you can find us.
Fantastic.
Got it. Oh, you know Easton. You like shopping, huh? Okay.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording
Okay.
again.